a little bit east of Devonport. We're going to go for a walk along the river here. It is subject to flooding and heavy rain, but today it's okay. So we'll just go for a walk and see what we can find. Step out of the car and we come across the ever popular rotunda from inside. Quite an interesting architectural effect. Mid-August, deciduous trees are still very much waiting for spring. The ever popular picnic areas with the ever popular free barbecues in there as well. Most people seem to be heading that way, and it's a loop, so I'll be heading the other way. Another picnic area and a couple of, well, getting close. Free barbies, as you can see, they're spotless. Council cleans them every day. Most people that use them do as well. You just press a button down the front there and away you go. Sleeping duck. Sleeping ducks plural. It was certainly another world in those days. The bridge will mark the start of our walk. Let's get moving. Another example of chicken wire on the wooden floor for frosty mornings. These ducks have woken up and are paddling furiously underneath towards us. The other side of the bridge off to our left. Take this very seriously in Tassie. Today's walk will be around Pig Island. We're going to do the long loop so we can get full view. They're doing their best to keep it safe for native animals. Nice, fairly comfortable walk. Reasonably well graded gravel path. It's wettish lands off to the left, and of course the lake, the river on the right. They peter out and just allowed to wander along the grassland, which is very comforting on the feet. I haven't shown any of these yet. Paper barks. They peel off. Quite good for wrapping around fish when cooking them on a barbie. Really wanted to get down and get your feet wet. So I say it started off at 3 degrees this morning at home. It's a lot warmer than that now, the sun's out. But I suspect the water temperature would be a little bit too cool for paddling. I suspect there was a frost here this morning. There's certainly a lot of moisture on the ground. And for some reason we didn't have a frost at home. But just down the road from us did. None of it makes any sense some mornings. Not sure if you can see the condensation coming up off the edge of the rocks there. The grassland alongside the river narrows in, and we have our pathway back in gravel up the end there. So let's get moving. Paper barks all through that area in the centre of the island. Yeah, the bark really stands out. As I said, it's August, so we have some wattle in bloom. It's a legume. The acacia species. They're a pioneer species. They only live 7 or 8 years normally, but they let you know when winter's getting close to the end with their bright yellow flowers. It's quite an interesting climate here. It does get cool in winter, but not cool enough to kill off what appear to be some sort of palm tree of some description. Possibly even a variation on a tree fern. If you know, let me know in the comments, because it has me intrigued. And now we're heading into a more forested area. The edges of the path marked. Lots of little wet tracks and waterways across this little island. So there are steps, they're little bridgeways. As you can see down there, it's quite muddy but not flowing at the moment. When the rain blows, a lot of this would be underwater. Yeah. There's more water on the ground, and a lot of paper bark trunks, and some fallen ones over there as well. Quite eerie and yet pleasant. I don't know if you can hear the birds quite a few of them now. River, back. Another water course to the right. Just we crossed over on the bridge back there. The whole island is crisscrossed with them. And all these paper barks. It's really quite pleasant. Approaching the end of the forested in area. On this part of the walk, you can see the wider expanse of water out there. Let's just go and have a look. The main path heads down that way. Take the off ramp and have a look at the water. Distinct lack of railings and a bit of a drop off on each side, so be careful. Tree there, but you can see from the ripples how quickly the water's flowing. Confirmed, back on the main track, which I suspect will take us back through the paper gums by the look through the paper barks by the look of it. Another view of the paper barks. Quite densely packed, so there must be a lot of nutrients down in that mud. Pleasantly meandering track, so you don't get bored walking in a straight line. Now I don't know if this is native or not, but I suspect not. There's an awful lot of ivy on the ground there. And up onto the paper barks. It has a way of smothering things, ivy. Cut down the tree, let's widen the path around it. Very sensible. No ivy here, so maybe we're on a winner. Some reeds there just on top of that little embankment, protecting another watercourse next to the path. In time. Off to the left is the short walk, so I guess that means we're heading to the right. We'll turn off again there, but as you can see in the background, there's a bit of a puddle on the ground. So I'm going to stick to the track and carry on to the right. We have a side quest just to this point, which may not be the most beautiful view in the world, but it's pleasant enough. On the track and off to our left, there's a huge bed of reeds that go round to that area where we saw the water on the ground. So I suspect it's normally damp in there. A few more reed beds up there ahead of us. And again, another shortcut back, but we'll give that one a miss. We want to do the full exploration of Pig Island. This is getting serious now. There's a proper bridge across a waterway. There's a little fella down there. There's another juvenile magnificent wren. Very, very tiny. With all these mud flats, there is a very different aroma. Into a little bit more forest, which is always nice, particularly as the sun's starting to warm up. And I'm still dressed for the 3 degrees it was when I left home this morning. We'll stop and take some layers off in a minute. The reed beds, there's these, don't know if they're conifers or some sort of native, but they definitely replace the paper barks. Well and truly back in the forest again. And here's a close-up of those. They're obviously not pine trees. If you know what they are, drop it in the comments, please. Always willing to learn. And then back into a grove of paper barks. Sun directly behind me now as we approach what is yet another shortcut home. So if you're starting to feel it in the legs, there's plenty of options to get you back in a hurry. We'll march onwards. From here, so you've got more grasses and reeds, then the main channel over there. Across the back is some agricultural country. Would be very good country, I suspect. Swinging around towards the end of this forested section, you can see the made path gives way to a more open gravel, and with a nice grassland area off to the left. What appears to be a well-planted blackwood plantation. It's been allowed to just grow its way. Blackwood grove, a couple of other species tossed in, but basically a blackwood, rather pleasant. Just enough light to come through. Up there you can see the yellow of the wattle. Definitely a sign winter's getting close to its end. Remarkably calming area. There's some blackwood blocks there. Burns hot, but not for long. Blackwoods are a legume, so they're also a good emergency stock feed. Remember feeding some to the pigs. Not an emergency, but we needed the tree gone, and the pigs were quite grateful for it. There on the horizon, well, not quite the horizon, but the middle distance. You can see the flood-proof bridge, allegedly. Not that anything's ever flood-proof, but this one's up quite high because they do get some big floods here in Latrobe. You get some moisture on the ground, which is why the path splits. I too will be taking the high path rather than get too much mud on the boots. All of the island, Pig Island, is covered in forestry. Big open area there. Still in the Blackwood Avenue as we swing around, which would appear to be the turn for home. There's another view of the open grassland. Nice little paddock. Back into the Blackwood Avenue to take us round to the bridge, I suspect. The main one we crossed on the way in. Off to our right here to have a look at the main channel of the creek. Flowing reasonably quickly as well over those hardly rapids, but areas of stone. Getting closer to civilization, I can hear lots of vehicle noise, which is always a prelude to civilization, whatever that might be. Yes, I can see people ahead, which is always a sign we're getting close to the end of the run. And here we are, back at the bridge and the end of our walk.